Today I wanted to show my updated Dwarf deck for the new patch. They got a couple buffs, mainly in the form of, if we take a look at, well, first we have Monroe got the buff, right? So he went from his deploy transform to Rowdy Dwarves into a Dwarf Berserker into Order, transform one allied Dwarf into a Dwarf Berserker, Rowdy Dwarf, with 2 charges and Zeal. So this is just better because you can set it up ahead of time. If they remove the Rowdy Dwarves before, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Now you can play him first, and then play the Rowdy Dwarves afterwards and transform them. What I like to do most though is have, say, one Rowdy Dwarf, something like a Chariot, transform that one, and then you can use the second charge on another one you play afterwards, so you're guaranteed at least one. But the cards that got buffed for the Dwarf deck were him, and then Armory became a location, Resilience, boost ally needed by 3, Order give 3 armor. It's okay. I tried it out. I ended up taking it back out of my deck, and the last thing that got changed was Enchanted Armor. Boost your hand by 3 and give it 2 armor. The 2 armor is very useful, and the option for carryover is nice, but Crystal Skull is still good too. Now as far as this deck goes, I'm using Monroe for his shorter round potential, right, with the Dwarf Berserkers, and Zoltan Warrior to create the 2 Rowdy Dwarves from the transform. Those 2 together can give you a lot of points fairly quickly, and you're going to need that because Brewer is our long round card. So Brewer boosts all of your dwarves with armor by 1 at the end of your turn as long as he has Barricade. So Brewer is the big power card of the deck, right? So Brewer carries you in a longer round, but then in a shorter round you need something which can actually give you points. Or in, say, round 1, if you're saving Brewer for round 3, you need something that can actually give you points. And then we'll get down to that later on. But Brewer usually want to save for the final round of the game because you're going to need it for his engine value. Although he will almost always be removed. Just keep that in mind. So you can't just set him up in like turn 2 with 2 dwarves with armor and then boost them each turn, because he's going to get answered. They're going to lock him, they're going to heat wave him, they'll do something to him. So usually you only get like 1 turn of his boosts, which is if you have 5 or 6 dwarves plus 6, which is good. And Heatwave because we need to remove some things, because there's some cards. So although the Dwarves have a good long round, they can't beat some very dedicated long round decks. So sometimes you need Heatwave. Well, actually a lot of times you need Heatwave for stuff. Call the Force. I was playing Oneiromancy. I ended up having to cut Oneiromancy for a couple of changes I'll show you later on, and then I put in Call the Force instead, so we can still search for a unit. The only thing is, the only card this doesn't search that we need is Heatwave. So that can be an issue sometimes, but I couldn't find room for Oneiromancy. We added in Novigradian Justice. I wasn't playing Justice earlier because I wanted to try out a more resilience focused with the Oneiromancy to really focus on that. But now there's room from cutting out Call of Force, and I also cut out Yarpen and a couple other cards, so we can fit Novigradian Justice. The reason Justice is so amazing is because, say you have a Dwarf, say you have, I don't know, a Dwarf Berserker out, and then you play Novigradian Justice, you get out your 2 Volunteers, and you get out a Cleaver's Muscle. You now have 4 Dwarves, which means that your stuff that gets boost for the number of Dwarves on the row, like Mahakam Guards and Barclay, their points they're worth gets accelerated, because normally after, like, if you play a Dwarf every turn, after 4 turns, Mahakam Guards is 7. If you play a Dwarf and then Novigradian Justice, after 2 turns, Guards is 7. So it lets you speed up the value you get from the wider boards, right? So Justice is really good, and it also thins your deck out with the 2 Volunteers. I still want to do a focus more on Resilience, because I like playing with Resilience, even if the cards that have it aren't the strongest. So we're using Zoltan. What's really nice about Zoltan, other than so he comes down for 8 usually, he boosts the things next to him by 2. The really nice thing about Zoltan though is they almost never will remove it. They'll either purify it, which some people can do. Some decks will purify, you gotta be careful of that. And you really do not want to play Zoltan or Gabor with Resilience versus Syndicate until they've played Philippa, because they steal it, it's so bad. Especially Gabor, because some of the a lot of Syndicate decks actually played some Dwarves in it, and they'll get engine value from it. The Intimidate ones specifically. Some of the decks, not all of them. So these 2 are really good. So Zoltan's really good because it's hard to remove. Gabor is really good because he sets up an engine in the following round. So if you want to go for a round, like a 2-round game, say you're up against something with a round 3 you know you can't beat. So for example, we can end up usually with no interruptions and say like no resets or anything, no Verdens, between like 85 and 100-ish points in a long round 3 with 10 cards with Brewer, which is probably what you can expect. Stuff like Syndicate Swarm with the Fire Swarms usually ends up like 110, 115 to 130 somewhere in there, so you just can't beat them in a long round 3. In that case, you kind of have to round 2 push or do something with the resilience to gain an advantage earlier. You just kind of have to know the matchups you're going up against. And that's really where the resilience comes in, helping out. You can set up this and in round 2 for a push and hopefully force out like their Sacred Flame and stuff in round 2 so they can't overwhelm you in round 3. Then we're playing our Defender. The reason we have Defender is for Brewer. The other nice thing is it spawns a Rowdy Dwarf, he has armor. Usually you just want to play Phineas with Brewer in round 3, but you can also make an argument for protecting a couple of your resilience cards with it if you need to. Zoltan's company spawns 3 Rowdy Dwarves, which is good for Monroe, but the real reason this is really useful is because we actually have 2 Zoltans in our deck, right? Zoltan Warrior and Zoltan Chibi, the one with resilience. So the company effect where if you control Zoltan gives 1 armor to all dwarves on the row comes up quite frequently. It's really good versus random damage from stuff like the cut-up guys that Senior plays, or from some of the Skellige cards that do random damage. And also against other dwarf decks, right, with Berserkers doing random damage. But the nicest thing about this is it spawns 3 dwarves on a row. Just like Justice, it accelerates the guards and stuff. And the other thing is the 1 armor means that if you put it in a row with Brewer, every dwarf in the row will have armor, and every dwarf will get boosted. So that's a nice way to do it too, if you have a Zoltan out. The armor part comes up quite a bit more than I initially expected. Then in Barclay, similar to Mahakam Guard, he gets value for each dwarf on the row. He can boost something other than himself. Usually what I end up using this for is you want to boost your lowest unit, or boost something not in the same row as everything else in case of Yurden. Although honestly, Yurden just means you lose most of the time anyway. But the best thing I usually do with Barclay is if they damage. Like they damage Gabor. Because Gabor's going to come down as a 5 with 1 armor. They might Alzur's Thunder it or something, so it's weaker, the carryover is weaker. You can just boost it with Barclay then. Then the Volunteers are for Justice. If you play the Volunteers without Justice, it's not the worst thing, because Justice can it'll play out something else useful, like Berserker's still useful. Stuff like that. It's not the end of the world if you can't Justice Volunteers, like it is in some decks. If you have like only 1 target for Justice, it's sometimes bad. But if you get the Volunteers and the Justice in your hand at the same time, it's not the end of the world. They're still both useful. Obviously not as good. Then we have the Dwarven Chariots. Spawn a Rowdy Dwarf. Usually this is the one I want to play 1 Monroe on, charge on. So we guarantee 1 Dwarf Berserker, and then we can set up the second one. This mostly is an issue versus Skellige, where they just remove all the Rowdy Dwarves. Especially because all of the Witcher decks nowadays are playing Lambert, and they'll just Lambert down all your Rowdy Dwarves, so you usually have to set up Monroe ahead of time. But they won't use Lambert on just 1 from the Chariot, so you can transform that one, then spawn another one and transform it. And the 1 armor each turn gives value. It gives 1 point per turn of value if it's used on a Berserker, right? Normally you can also use it on Yarpin, but I had to cut Yarpin for some of the Resilience cards and Justice. So just keep that in mind. There's only really 1 target we can continuous value out of on this, and that's Berserker. But it's still good for protecting stuff, and it's also good for armoring things that don't have armor for Brewer, so you boost them. It's still good. Dwarf Berserkers are our engine card. They just do 1 random damage. The thing with Berserkers, you have to be really careful with Syndicate, because of Junior. His fee to destroy something with 3 or less power, it'll just take out your Berserkers, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you just gotta keep that in mind. You usually want to play these guys earlier, and watch out for him. The Marauders for 4 provisions, they're good. I mean, I like the Marauders. I also like the Pyrotechnicians and the Miners and Mahakam Guards. The Guards are the best value here. Usually you want to get your Guards round 1, so you can get a lot of value from your Bronze cards without having to commit something for a longer round like Groover. You don't want to do that. So Guards are really good for round 1. Miners set up stuff and give armor. The armor is best if you put on like a Pyrotechnician or something. Pyrotechnician, if you armor it just one time, is an 8 for 4 with 4 removal. The removal is pretty random, but it's usually the opening play I go for if it's in my hand, especially going first. But I haven't gone first in like 8 or 9 games. Not that I really care, but I haven't been able to test it out too much. And then we have the, like I said, the Marauders. This is the deck. Explanation was a little longer this time, but I wanted to make sure and go through everything, and in case you've seen the previous one, want to know any changes. And this is the deck, and we're going to go test it out. Now I said test the deck out. I've played this deck a whole bunch already, but I might record some games so you guys can see what I'm talking about for it, and see how it works out in practice. Now hopefully here, let's see what we go up against. Alright, Arrakis Swarm. Dwarf Berserkers are pretty useful at digging down the 1-point guys, the drones. But this is one of those decks where I don't think we can actually win a long round 3. So we really want to have some resilience carryover and do a 2-round push, because I don't think we can win a round 3 versus them. It's not guaranteed though. Like, I know for a fact we can't beat Syndicate Swarm round 3. I've had like 4 games trying to do it so far, and it just doesn't. There's just not the points, and we don't have the removals for Fallen Knights. But here, depends on what kind of deck he's playing. But I think we have a. It's not like a guaranteed loss in round 3. So there's the nest. I want to play Dwarf Berserker and hopefully kill one of these at least. 20% chance, or 80% chance this works here. We got one. Good start. We'll drop the other one. Taking these drones out is really useful. Evolution, so we won't be able to anymore since he's just going to well, he's going to boost these all at some point, right? But for now, let's keep playing the Berserkers. This is a good play for them. We'll take out a couple of these, hopefully. 2 more, that's good. As long as we can keep the numbers of these down, we should be in a good spot. And then for further rounds, we want to remove these. We have the option of the Monroe transformed Berserkers. So, taking them out, I didn't actually accomplish anything, but what are you going to do? So, we have a couple options here. The best one, I think, is Justice. If we go Justice, we can set up our guards. We have Gabor for a round 3. Or not round 3, for round 2 carryover. But in order to keep up, we're going to have to play Justice. And I want to thin our deck anyway. So we'll play our Volunteers out. If you end up with Justice, and you've played your Volunteers earlier, the best thing usually to play out is you can play out a Guard, right? Guard will get the most value of all your Bronze Dwarves in your deck, and usually Guard, at the end of a round, is worth a lot more than most of your regular cards. Or we can get locked here.
I do not mince words.
It's not the biggest of deals. Now, the question here is that, do we commit Gabor at some point? We're going to commit him at some point, I mean. He has Parasite, so I want to set up some protection for a Gabor first. Most decks don't have the removal for Gabor because he comes down with the 1 armor. But Parasite I expect to be an option from this guy. So I don't want him to just die. We'll set up this armor on him. And I'm perfectly fine at any point in this round. Okay. Just like I was going to say, I'm perfectly fine committing our Mahakam Forge to spawn the Tempering if it gives us an advantage in the next round. And in this case, we can set up our Gabor, like so, with Resilience. Can boost him. And we're going to have to commit Tempering here because we only get 1 damage from this guy, otherwise it'd be a draw in the next round. Or draw this round. So we'll just commit the Tempering. I'm fine with that. If he locked our other Dwarf, I think he locked the one with more armor, which was smart by him. But we have our Gabor engine set up now. What we're really looking for is Zoltan Warrior at this point. We can play him out of our deck too. Heat Wave's good. Guard's good for a long round. We're going to have... We're missing Defender. Missing Defender, Barclay, and Zoltan Warrior for our best cards. We're going to play Zoltan Warrior out for our first play. Then we're going to go into Monroe to start taking out his guys, then Brewer. Marauder can get replaced for second guard. Our row might get too full. We're going to have to do some careful counting here, but not yet, because first we're going to go for the Zoltan Warrior. We could have also gone for our Defender. I want to set up with Monroe these Berserker Dings to take out as many swarm little drones as possible. Is this going to be the Parasite? I imagine it is, right? Yeah, when you go Resilience, they lose all their boosts and stuff. That includes the armor. Drone. Okay. Alright, so we have Brewer. That puts us at 4. This puts us at 7 in the row, right? 4, 7, double guard. But then we can't fit Zoltan in the same row. Which means that we want to play... Zoltan doesn't need the... Well, because Brewer's going to get killed, so there should be an empty space. Right, so this should be fine. We just go Monroe. This. That wasn't the drone, but whatever. Alright, so now we're going to go into Company Brewer. That way we get the most value from Brewer. Okay, bleeding ignores armor, which is annoying. If he bleeds one of our Berserkers... Okay, that's fine. We go Company, that puts us at 7. Let's see. Brewer first. He's played his Parasite. He has revealed his Gregory though, so we know he's not Devotion. It means he probably has a Heat Wave. It means we need more value from the initial Brewer turn before he's removed. So we'll go for the Company first. And next turn we'll go for Brewer. Just because I want as many points from Brewer on the turn I put him down as possible, because he's going to get Heat Waved. I wonder if this is one of the Unseen Elder decks. With Devotion, they spawn the Eukaranthe or play a copy of it. The issue with our 2-round push here is that we're really kind of going all in. Warrior. Alright, then we go Brewer. He's going to remove Brewer.
Okay, Mahakam, let's get to work.
I'm a little confused. Don't think he actually is playing... Oops, that's not what I meant to click on. I don't really know if he's playing Unseen Elder, so we're going to get moved here. That's kind of normal at this point. It's annoying, but not the end of the world. We'll just go double guard in this row. Each one will be worth quite a bit. Brewer will at least keep boosting himself. I was playing Poly earlier. He had the move and the order for 2 armor. It's not a bad choice, but I just ran out of provisions for the 6th slot. The other one we have is Barclay. I would also like to play Ida for the Purify. Alright, what's he going to do? I want him to play his big combo now. Whatever it is. We're going to consume an Arrakis drone, then boost all the drones. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen here. Yeah. There it is, the Chimera. We're still in a pretty good spot. Let's see. The question is, do we play Zoltan now? It's getting an extra turn of boost from our Brewer. Because we can do that. They'll be worth 2 points, right? Because we get +1/+1, as opposed to if we played them next turn. Actually, it's just worth 1 point. We play them now versus later. The issue with that then being, if he were to kill something in our melee row, we wouldn't be able to put him in the melee row for the +2 boosts. It's better just go for the guard now. We know we have the full row. And we can drop down our Zoltan for resilience into round 3 if we need it. Geralt coming in.
Not your lucky day.
Kills a Brewer. We're up by 18 with 2 bleedings, so we're up by 16. He has an order for 2 points, so we're up by 14. Ygritte doesn't get him enough then, if he has it. We force out all of his leader charges. The thing is, we have a resilience card, but if we play our resilience card, yeah, I think it's a good idea to play it. We don't get the value though. I think we'll keep it. A longer round 3 is better for us, and 4 points of resilience isn't the best. Don't think you can get 14 in one turn without Yrden. Okay, so there's the Yrden. We forced out the Yrden, that's quite good. Yeah, if we went for a long round 3, we would have lost the game, because we've gotten Yrden at some point in it. We're in a good spot now though, because he's used up all his leaders charges, and he's played his Geralt of Rivia and his Geralt Yrden. That's a lot of provisions. He might still be able to set up something that we don't like. What I really want from our deck here is our defender. This gives us 2 dwarves. Alright, this is a pretty good hand, considering what we have left. What's he going to do? 4 drones. 5 here. I think this guy might win, sadly, but if we just went for the round 1 and then ended and went to round 3, we would have lost the game to Yrden. These decks that get most of their value from bronze cards, like Chimera or Yennefer, they tend to be the ones that play Geralts, because they have the extra provisions. Alright, that wasn't the worst Yennefer. Drop this. He's not going to play anything I really want to Heatwave, unfortunately, unless he has another Indrago Warrior with Consume. That's 8, that might be the biggest thing. Okay, Zoltan's going to be worth 8. Boost here, in case we get our biggest removed somehow to Heatwave. We want it to be as small as possible. Okay, Maxi. That's not bad.
Your magic can't harm me. No magic.
It's not that many points. Now we have Barclay for 8. We'll go here.
I've got to get this stinking mess.
Alright, what's his last card? Lone Talisman. I think we got this with the Heatwave. Alright, yeah, the only way we were able to win that was by setting up our resilience. So we go into round 2 for a big round 2 push. GG. See, that was what I was talking about, right? We know his round 3 is probably something we can't beat. I don't know the exact points on this one like I do for some decks, but I don't think we could beat his round 3 where he goes for all of the drones and everything. So we had to set up something with resilience, and this is why I love resilience, because you can set up scenarios where you can beat decks that you're disadvantaged against in certain situations, right? I liked it. Let's get a second game then. We'll see if we might play not sure if we'll record a third one for this or just leave it at 2, because our deck profile is pretty long and the first game was a decent amount of time. We'll see how this one goes. What I'm curious to go up against is what I've been going up against every game is the Witcher deck. Not every game, but like 60% of the times I'm going against the new Scoia'tael Witcher deck. This looks like Blaze of Glory. Alright, the issue with Blaze of Glory is that Brewer will not live. Like, most of the time I say he's not going to live, As you saw in the last game, he didn't live. He definitely will not live here. That being said, we need value from our engines. We're going second. Technician's better going first. But it's also not a bad play if he sets up something with order for damage. I like the chariots versus Skellige. But we want to see justice, so I'll take the pyrotechnician back. The thing to keep in mind is that the chariot itself isn't a dwarf, so it can artificially make you think you've got more stuff than you do in a row. More dwarves for the guards and such. I want to set up a chariot. I'm guessing a Haymaker Protector is going to come down, so we don't really want to go for Berserkers. Because the Berserkers could backfire pretty hard if they keep hitting things next to the Haymaker Protectors. Alright, we're going to lose our chariot. That's fine. I'll just play the other chariot. Might lose this one too. But it does leave us with two rowdy dwarves and the question of Monroe. The thing about Monroe is that he's not amazing for a 12-point card, right? He's 12, right? Yeah. For a 12-point card, he transforms 2 into 3s, right? So that's plus 2 points. Each one has the potential for 4 damage. So 6 plus 2 plus 8 is 16 for 12 with a very conditional setup. As you can see, he's just taking our dwarves out right now. But he hasn't played a protector yet. It's probably coming. Might be saving it. He's going to play one more card, so this is the time I want to set up a resilience if he's going to pass. The thing about resiliences, though, is that they're really best when the opponent is under 4 cards, right? So if they go down, normally what happens is like you go down to, if you win, you're on 4. If your opponent, and then the person who wins is on 4 cards. A lot of the time, the person who loses is on 5. We'll play a Berserker while I'm talking. Get this armor so he doesn't get more value from his boats. So it happens a lot of times, right? Someone passes on 4, someone passes on 5, the person on 4 wins. If you get them to go to 3, and then, well, if you play Resilience, then you both draw 3 cards, and 3 cards, you'll be to 10 again in round 3. If you can get them to go 3 cards, and you play Resilience, they have to do something about it. Otherwise, you get an extra card in round 3 if they just drive past round 2. And that's the idea. Now here, I might just play Zoltan to protect our dwarf. Rowdy dwarf, so we get more value from the guards coming in. I think that's what I'm going to do. Get some armor here. So I want to play the Mahakam guards here, because they are not good in a short round, which is what I imagine he will push for in round 2 if he wins. And in round 3 we can end up with too much space, and the rows getting filled up. Alright, so that will be a problem. This protector will get very big though. And usually in this, the biggest thing for Heatwave is normally Yutta. Now, if we can... Like I said, Berserker is not good because he has the boats with the protector. If we go guard, guard, we get, what, 4, 7, 8. It's a lot of points. If we can just keep going and his protector gets really big, I'm fine heatwaving it if it gives us a win on even for round 2. Because we need him to play iced before round 3. Well, we want to play, basically we wanted to play Blaze of Glory before we play Bruver. If that happens, he'll have to Yalmar the Bruver, and Yalmar without a Yutta in the graveyard only comes down for 10, and Bruver can have enough armor that he can survive that. Or we can hit him with a Tempering. But as long as Yutta's there, and the Blaze of Glory option's there, there's no way he'll live. Okay, so here, we'll play our other guard, threaten some points on him, armor this. Each of these armors is actually, from this chariot, is getting value at this point. We could play our tempering to protect our chariot, but it's really not worth that much, and it's not a dwarf. So it doesn't get the, doesn't get the 2 armor part of the tempering. Yeah, it just gets the 5 boost. Now we've only played bronze cards here, except for Zoltan, which is resilience. So I'm not upset about this so far if he wins. He's also only played bronze cards, so we have some resilience. This is what I'm saying. If he plays here and goes to 3, we'll have a resilience set up for the next round, and he'll have to do something about it. Basically, you're forcing him to play round 2. Which is what we want, because we want to play iced in that round. Okay, so he's going to win, or he's going to lose the round. Now, the only issue for us is if Dwarf Berserker, both Berserkers 3 times, hit things next to Protector. It's very unlikely. We have a 20% or a 40% chance, approximately, I'm not doing real statistics now, that hits one of these. Then this one will have a 25% chance to hit this one, and then 25% chance to hit this one again. All that combined is very low probability. Watch it now happen. Alright, so, see, we're fine. Pass. We have a Zoltan setup. That's really good if we get into Company and Brewer. But Brewer, I don't really want to commit until he's used up Blaze of Glory. So Pyrotechnician is okay. Marauder I'll get rid of. Justice is good. The problem here is that we could draw into a Volunteer, but we have to risk it. This hand's honestly not amazing. It's not amazing. I know we wanted to get rid of Iced, but without Brewer, with only one way to spawn the Rowdy Dwarves, it's pretty suspect if we can actually win this round. That being said, Justice, to get the Volunteers out of our deck, is something we're going to do. I know it's really good to set up our round 3 for putting multiple Dwarves out at once, but I want the Volunteers out of my deck because we need to draw into Brewer, and this increases the chance of that for round 3. Hershka, I don't know how to say her name. But our armor should protect us here a little bit. He's down by 13. He has the activate his order, the best deck in these 3. That gives him to 7, he's down by 10. Herald's a 10-point play for the deck. Right, at this point? Actually, it's not. Think of the 10-point plays. Yalmar is. Then he can't Yalmar Blaze of Glory. The thing about the Blaze of Glory is the threat of Yalmar Blaze of Glory can answer anything, even behind a defender, unless the defender or the thing behind it has shield. Because Yalmar does 10, takes out our Figus, and then he does 12 to our Brewer. He's going to have to play something fairly decent here. I think I'm good. We want this round 3 to be longer. We just want to thin the Volunteers out. If we had Brewer, we would have gone for our round 2 push to maybe get rid of Iced, but we didn't have him. Oh, nice. He hit 1 on the shield. He's down by 11. So he's going to have to play something actual, like an actual good card here. We played Justice, which was one of our good cards, one of our better cards, but it was also just to thin our deck out. So we really need Brewer for round 3. We also increase the chance of drawing Call of Force, which is basically the same as getting Brewer. Blood Eagle, yeah, that'll get him over, I'm sure. Alright, 2. There we go, we forced out Herald. Excellent. We didn't get Ice, but we got Herald, which is also very strong, because although Ice is a very big tempo play, Herald's a very strong engine card at round 3. Although it is less strong against us because the armor will block a lot of random damage. So what we want from our deck here is we want Figus and Brewer, Call of Force, and Zoltan's Company. We can't have 4 cards though. Or it looks like we drew into Barclay and Zoltan's Company. Technician's not good. I mean, it's okay, but I don't really want it. I also don't want Miner. Alright, we got Figus. We have Bruver. We never got our Gabor, that's okay. His time's kind of come and gone at this point anyway. We really want him for the Resilience. Alright, so he has a very reactive hand. Oh, he's going to play some Witchers, actually.
Take care of your blade.
This is not a Witcher deck, so I'm not worried about the Swarm, really. Kind of looks like he has a lot of... This is telling me his hand's very reactive. Which means that he has a lot of answers to stuff. I think what we want to do is we're going to go from our Figus early. Because he's going to kill it because he has a reactive hand. Based on what he's played here, I think he has he's plenty of answers in his hand, so I think this is going to die. This dies, we play Monroe and use one of his charges on this guy. Doesn't die, we play Zoltan Warrior. Like I said, it's going to die. Then we go for one of our Monroes, though. And now we put him in a position where he has to decide if he wants to release removal to stop one charge of our Monroe, or if he's going to save it. And then we have our Zoltan Warrior coming out next with Zoltan's Company. Fill the row, go Bruver, Bruver dies. You can also Miner. So we're going to have 3 more Dwarves in this row, plus 3 more, that's 8. And then we play Bruver. We don't have room for Barclay, but I'm sure something will die. Like, if he will kill Bruver, right, with his leader ability. Even though it looks like we're going to fill our rows up, right, we go 3 extra, we go here first, we go here, 2, transform 1. We got 5 Dwarves, this puts us at 8. Play Bruver, puts us at 9. Kills Bruver, we're back at 8, we can put Barclay in for the 9th card, and then we'll just put Miner in the ranged row. Well, I want to play Miner first, honestly, but I don't want to wait too long because he's going to start removing our Dwarves. Alright, hopefully this doesn't just kill a Dwarf. Alright, that was good. We blocked 3 on armor. Quite nice. Let's see, we have Bruver still. I really like the company here, though. It reactivates one of our Berserkers, and it armors us. But the thing that you have to be careful about is some of these Skellige decks play the guy that spawns a Siren in your row, which would be very problematic. So what we're going to do, instead of playing Zoltan's Company, is play... Well, if he does that and plays the Siren, doing Company and Bruver in the range row, that's not awful either. Lose Company if we do it here. We'll have to Blaze of Glory at some point, though. Plus, if he was playing the card that summons the Siren, he would have played it already before the Adrenaline was active, because that would reduce its damage. So I don't think he is. This protects us from a lot of damage. There's Scoia'tael, we're going to lose a Berserker. Fine. Now we could play Bruver now. Bruver would give us what?
I'm much better at that. Gotta dodge. Gotta have the...
Plus 6. Is Barricade 1 for every Dwarf in our hand, or gets plus 1. If we play him now, though... This guy's got 2 damage. Active. Minor Bruver. Bruver lives through Blaze of Glory then. So I'm thinking is if we Bruver, he has 14 damage ready right now. So I think we go Minor. Really hopefully use the Minor on the Bruver. I don't want to use Tempering yet, in case for, I want to set up so Bruver does not die to the Blaze of Glory. Alright, we're going to take damage there, kill that off. Alright, well, we don't have a choice anymore.
Just chop one off.
It's time. Drop Bruver. Drop the tempering. Here. Alright, time for Blaze of Glory and Iced. We could have put tempering on Broover, because he would have gone to a 12 with 4 armor, but I can't risk it in case he has Heat Wave. Iced. Blaze of Glory, as everyone in the world knew was coming. Yoda comes back.
Exactly what I'd hoped for.
Okay, sometimes these people play Heart of Terror. What card does he normally play that I'm expecting? I'm just gonna finish with Hemdall, maybe. He doesn't have any more discard and draws, so usually they only play around having the Bloodthirst. There's nothing better for me to Heat Wave than this Yoda, right? So we just... Because the thing about playing Barkley is we set ourselves up for more pain from a some kind of Geralt. Although we probably still lose. But this is probably better. In case this is Heart of Terror or something, we get more value from holding onto our Barkley. It is Heart of Terror. I'm not sure Barkley's enough still. It is enough. Okay, good. If we played Barkley earlier, I think we would have lost. But this is enough here, and we take that game. GG. Another close one. So we will do a third game here. We'll just try and make this one a little bit shorter, hopefully. If you want to watch all 3 games, I'm sure people have already skipped them anyway at this point. So we'll just see how this one goes. We're going to go up against Overwhelming Hunger. If this is Vi, we lose. That's just what this comes down to. We can't beat a Vi deck. If it's not Vi, could be a Succubus deck. Interesting. I do not want 2 Volunteers in my hand. We could keep one, but we really want them with Justice. We're going first. That's fine. I want Pyrotechnician, I want Berserker, because it gives me the option of 5 damage to kill a Consume card. But he's going to boost the... Well, he won't boost the Consume card, because we have the Stratagem. So I'm going to go this into this, in case he plays a 5-point Consume like Slizzard. We want to be able to kill it. That's one of our only ways to do so. Put this Miner back. So like I said, we'll go Pyrotechnician first. In case he plays his Slizzard. Our only tall removal is Heat Wave. Bruxa. Bruxa's a pretty good hit for our Pyrotechnician, so let him do it. Then we'll set up our Chariot, hopefully for some value. We do have Figus and Zoltan already. We also have Monroe. There's the Slizzard we were talking about. Now, at this point, there's no way for us to win this round anymore, unless we go super hard, because Vi's just too many points. Let's see. Is there any option for us here? If he pushes us in a round 2, we get some carryover. I think we're going to go for as much carryover as possible, and hope he pushes us round 2. I think that's our only hope. With that in mind, we're going to play Zoltan for our next card after this turn. This turn, though, we're going to go our Enchanted Armor for carryover also later on. We're going to go for our Berserker, and then just put armor on it. Make him think we're going for a longer round. So he's in a Vi. We're going to lose on even, but there's nothing at all we can do about that with this deck. We don't have Yrden, we don't have enough tall removal. The only way we could deal with this is by Heat Wave, and we need Heat Wave for his last Vi, otherwise there's no way we win a longer round either. So this is where we go Zoltan. We go Armor, we go here for Enchanted Armor. We see play Heat Wave. Usually don't play any removal in their Vi decks, it's all Point Slam. So that in mind, we will just go and boost our thing we're least likely to put back in our deck. which is Monroe. And then we drop Zoltan. Boost here. Set up for the next round. We can't avoid losing on even to Vi. The only way was to have this lizard die, but we're not actually playing Nature's Rebuke or Rouser's Thunder. So the only way to kill it was with our Pyrotechnician. Is that going to play Broover? If that plays Broover, we win this round. But it's bad. Okay, Zoltan Warrior. Honestly, this is a good spot. We're actually up. We're not going to lose on even. And that's about as good as we can hope for. Short rounds are bad for us. So our only hope is that we get the strongest long round possible and he has no removal. That's our win here. How we get a win. Is he's not playing Heatwave or any removal, just playing pure Point Slam with Vi, and that we can get a long round 3 with Broover getting us tons of value. Which means we want to draw into Justice. Oh, I mean, we also needed Broover, but... Don't want this. I want no Grading Justice. So the only card I want to draw is Justice, right? Looking through here. Yeah, the only card we want is Justice. But we can set up our... We get more redraws if we just pass, right? But if we can set up our Gabor into round 3 for a starting engine, that would help quite a bit. So I want to do that. Now... Well, probably our last play. He's going to go for it here, I imagine. As many buys as possible.
Do not make me beg.
Would have been also, this is, if we got the highest cost card, but that's clearly not how it works. So, here, we want to threaten something. He's going to keep playing Vise. We're going to need to play Broover, if he pushes us, and then we'll save our Monroe Zoltan maybe for round 3. The thing is, he's going to save 2 cards in his hand to play Vi, and the leader charges for round 3. We can't beat that. So what we need to do is have the round 3 be longer with Broover and Justice. To facilitate that, we need to have our guards get us value in this round. And we want to set up armor somewhere. So we're going to play our company this round. That's good. We'll start with Minor. If we need to protect something, we can protect it with Minor. Ideally, what we want to do is have him pass at some point, and then us just finish with Call the Force into Gabor. Just Haunt. We have to Heatwave Haunt. Otherwise we lose this round even harder than normal. But if he's playing Haunt, so we have to Heatwave Haunt. If we don't Heatwave Haunt, he's going to win the round without having to commit. If we Heatwave Haunt, he might not have enough consumes for his Vi, other than leader charges, which is what we want. We want him to use leader charges now. Obviously, he's just going to go hard here. We're going to need more points. So, Company's going to be played here at some point. Play Marauder. And did you want to set up something where if we Gabor with Tempering, it wins us the round? So that's going to be a 10, right? Plus we have 2 here, 12. So as long as we play at least 5 points, we're okay. No, not Call of Force. Let's try to play this card. Might as well just armor here. So we're going to go into Company next, most likely, into Guard, and we'll see if we need anything else. Here comes another Vi. He's going to use a leader charge. We want him to use up the leader charges here.
Sometimes submission is a virtue.
Here's one of them. Let's look at some 18 points. Sometimes these people play Emerly's Wrath. That's the removal I'm concerned about. Alright, so he's currently up by quite a bit, as we would say. We did get his spying out, so now he can't fill a row. But I think Zoltan's Company's in order here. The next turn we have to play Brewer. We can't win this round. But we could. I don't think we can win. It's kind of sad. Devi's just. I don't think this deck just can't beat a Vi deck. We don't have the removal for the removal or the locks. So he's setting that up. Another consume. Might be worth putting Yurden in here to counter this type of stuff. Oh no, give me my connection back. Okay, so here. I mean, we're down by 25. There's no way we win this round without Brewer.
Mahakam wasn't it built
So we have to play him. We play guard next. Hopefully that's sufficient. Probably won't be. Vi's just so many points. If he can't kill Brewer, we have a chance. The other thing is if he just passes, we lose round 3. So we want him to keep going, but not have enough to do it, essentially. We want him to underestimate Brewer. Okay, he's gonna hopefully keep going. We just need him to underestimate Brewer. That's what this comes down to. We could Monroe to transform now for our Berserkers. But then we won't have any way to win round 3, right? Because he's one of our big value plays. Then if we wait longer and transform these guys, they'll be worth less. The question is, do we think we need Monroe? I think we sadly do. So we go Monroe. We go transform. Transform. Still don't win up a card if he passes. But he has no more consumes, so the only way he can consume is a leader. If he goes really hard here, and then doesn't have enough consumes to round 3, we have a chance. Crow's Eye, Purify an ally, and Boost by. He's bleeding us, but that's fine. The only issue is here we want to play Gabor in the melee row for resilience, so we can't finish by playing guard yet. If we don't play Gabor, what do we play? That's the thing, Gabor is the only thing we really want. Well, we can just play Chariot here. We win up a card now. Guard's not great this round because we want to play Gabor in the melee. Okay, there's Barbagazi. Interesting. So, if we don't play Gabor, what's our highest point play? Probably Volunteers. It's 8. Barkley might be close. Let's see. I think we just guard. Guard's our highest tempo play. Let's put one of these on these. Put guard here. We can't Gabor anymore. But with him having another Vi consume, we need the points here. We might win up. Yeah, we're gonna win up. He only has 1 consume leader charge left. Interesting. Maybe Gabor would have been better. Gabor would have been better there, but then our guard becomes dead. Okay, we don't need 2 of these. Question is, do we draw into Justice? 6 cards in our deck. One of them's Justice. I think we go for it. Didn't get him. That's fine. So, do we have another Berserker in our deck? We do. Okay, so we go Pyrotechnician. And then we have Call of Force for Berserker to kill Ace Lizard. If he has it. Larva. Pyrotechnician Larva. Let's see. We're gonna play Vegas here.
Challenge once you knock him off that horse.
Do we give any more armor here? The best target for our forge here is him. Then we go Call of Force into Volunteers, into Marauder, into Guard, or we go Marauder into Guard, into Call of Force, into Barclay. I don't really want to take a 33% chance on hitting a Slizzard if he plays it. I think the best use of Power Technician is here. Should have Tempering first because we're dumb, but I just said I was going to Tempering it, but we didn't. That's okay. Pretend that didn't happen. Purified Defender, sure, still fair.
Assist you prolong your suffering. Your fate is sealed.
Go Marauder. Then this next turn will determine if we go for Barclay or Volunteers off of our Call to Force. If he kills something, I think Volunteers is more, right? Because right now, there's Barbagazi. We're not going to kill that. Okay, so he has Vi. One more Vi. Or he has Detlef. But they don't play... Because sometimes if they play... sometimes if they play Heatwave, not Heatwave, Scenario, they play Detlef, which would give him the 2 charges here. We have to do some math. We play Volunteers. Volunteers is worth 8. Gives us 2 more points on Guard, worth 10. If we play Guard here, Guard is worth... We play Guard, we have 5 Dwarves. We play Barclay. Barclay is worth... Well, it's +1 to both these from Call of Force. 4 is 5 is 9. Volunteers is worth more points here. So Call of Force into Volunteers.
Leave it to us.
Let's see. Tempering yet or not? No. Just because there wasn't enough time. I don't think he has any removal. It's gonna be Vi. Plus 24 and we lose, sadly. So we have Guard. I lose by 1. 20 fact, guys. If we had Tempering when I said I was going to on this, we would have drawn through the game. But I was too busy talking to actually do it. GG. 1 point matters. Do one more game since that last one made me feel bad. But let's see how we do in this one. What are we facing? Did I ambush? Did I ambush? Alright, if this is traps, we have a problem. Because we play heavily into 1 row. To counteract that problem, we have to use our resilience to force out the traps early. Going first, we have the option to set up miners and marauders. They almost always play the incinerating trap first. With that in mind, the Berserker's armor gets its full value immediately if they hit him with it. Don't need this. Berserker in general is really good here because against the road traps, the crushing traps, if they just hit his armor, it's equivalent to getting full value. I don't want to redraw too much here because don't want to draw into Volunteers. Like I said, we're going to go first. We're going to set up Marauder. Let's play this. It's fine.
Hearty hankering for Gwent.
Yeah, the last game, I was too busy articulating what I was thinking to actually do it. Like I thought I was played the tempering on the Pyrotechnician when I was saying it, but I didn't. Because I was too busy saying it out loud to do it in the game. Oh well. Okay, there's a Feign Death. He's gonna try and push around 1 win, but I just straight have Heat Wave.
Don't dare think you can escape.
Sometimes I Heat Wave crushing traps in this scenario. Usually when they return 1 to their hand. But we're just gonna Heat Wave that. We don't want him to have that power in round 1. Swordmaster. Fine. As long as our stuff has armor, we're good here. We always have the option of Justice. Sadly, we don't have our guards, which are really our round 1, like, big plays. Because the guard's worth the most in round 1, because it turns to like a 4 worth like 9 to 11 points somewhere in there. The other thing here is, though, since we don't have it, we don't have to play in one row. We can just spread our guys out. Since he doesn't know that. We do have Barclay, though, so we kind of still want to play in one row. Okay, officer. Yeah, each time he hits my each time he hits my armor, I don't care. The other question here is, what do we use our enchanted armor on? Because he's going to have the trap, serpent trap, right? So we want to manage what's the biggest thing we play. While we're thinking about that, though, we'll drop this. Chariot we don't have. The other thing is we only play a few special cards. I think we want to adjust this round 1 to get out of our deck. Bombs or Madak coming. So this is the bomb no unit trap deck. Thankfully for us, we don't really care. Like, some decks just lose if they have too many non-unit cards. We don't have that problem. We have the problem of Crushing Trap being a problem. We're gonna boost something in our hand. Why don't you just boost Barclay so he's the bigger swing? We're gonna play Justice because we need to get our volunteers out, though. Just go here. Go armor. I clicked on it. Let's go. Of these, I want Monroe to live. If he has bombs, he's gonna have purify, so boosting this isn't great, but he'll waste more damage on the armor. Now, if he doesn't purify, he has to waste another bomb on this, giving more value from the armor here. Let's do Figus. Doing it on Brewer's kind of irrelevant, because Brewer's always the card that's going to get removed. Alright, so there's the first Crushing Trap coming out now. We really want to win round 1. Do we, though? Yeah, because we want to force Eldane out. This could also be like an Incinerating Trap or something. 1, 2, 3, 6, 10. Barclay's worth 10. We don't have to keep going, though, that's the thing, right? We also have Call of Force into our Resilience card. Like Zoltan. We'll keep in mind they might play the one trap, Spike Pitfall Trap. So we'll play Barclay in case that's what it is. Alright, so some crushing. We'll play with 11. The other thing is if he plays all of his crushing traps now, we'll be better off in a later round. And crushing traps aren't the end of the world because we have armor on our guys, so they don't get full value. Yeah, so that's crushing trap for sure. Call of Force into Gabor. The thing is he has Purify. Call of Force into Zoltan might be better then. As if he has Purify bombs, the full bomb damage will be absorbed on the armor. Alright, it's going to be another Crushing Trap. EBR. Alright, one Crushing Trap here. We lose on even to another Crushing Trap, which is a problem. Is there a way to circumvent this problem? No. The second Crushing Trap's the problem one, right? The first one, a lot of it's absorbed by armor. Crushing Trap. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. We can just play a card, we should be fine. Not Warrior, for obvious reasons. Call of Force into Monroe, and then we play Warrior next turn, though. Sounds good to me. So we'll be at 6 in the melee row. Let's play Monroe out. Here.
Go back across the Yaruga, you buttheads!
Crushing Trap's gonna go off. We'll be down to 6. If he heat waves our Monroe, he doesn't have heat wave for Brewer anymore. We also want to place Erlin this round, so he doesn't have that swing later on either, considering we're already in a bad spot. Okay, so that could be a third crushing trap. Must be incinerating. Let's crush it. Now, what would be bad is if that was, what's it called? The one trap. Pitfall. As we play Zoltan Warrior, we take 11. We have no armor anywhere, so we would just straight take 11. The thing is, we don't have to. We don't have to play here. Unless that's crushing. I think it's crushing. So I think we go for Warrior. I think it's a crushing trap. Okay, it was actually this one. Alright then. Let's transform this guy. We could play our... If we play the Tempering, we should be able to get out of this round easier. If we have to play it. I think if we don't play Tempering, we are unable to get out of this round without losing on even. Saber Tooth, sure, play that. 3 damage, 3, we're fine. So this is where we pass. This is down by 5, 4, counting the order on this guy. Well, still 5 because we do 1 damage. No, because he got +1 for the Burning Souls Commando. He's gonna play something from his hand here. He still has Erlin for a longer round coming up. Maxi. Okay, he's just gonna put Erlin at the bottom of his deck.
Your magic can't harm
Makes
me.
sense.
No magic can.
Saber Tooth. We played Monroe in the range row in case we had to play Fegus, by the way, last round. Fegus or Bruver in the melee row to have space. That ended up costing us a couple points. The thing is here, if he passes and goes for a long round 3 with traps, we could potentially get our resilience cards. Let's go. That's not one. That's not one either. That's unfortunate. Could have really punished him if he did that. He's down 2 crushing traps, right? Well, 1 and 1 he created, so he has 1 left, and then returned to hand. So he has 2 more potential crushing traps. He still has all his leader charges and everything. Okay, what's this gonna be? This will tell us what we're gonna do here. We have no special cards, so we're not too afraid of Serpent Trap. We have to play something small. Alright, so that is Serpent Trap. Maybe not. What's he played? He's played Crushing and Pitfall. So that's Serpent. The activator of Serpent destroys the lowest. Fegus is amazing here. Considering the same thing, still amazing. Blocks all 5 damage. Okay, here we are. Looking good. Bomb? Sure. Madoc? Sure. If we put our Miner in the range row, the armor can block 1 damage. I'll probably bomb the Miner though.
Oh, I'm feeling sleepy, grumpy, dopey, and
Brewer's gonna be trash. Sadly. What we want to do is have him bomb. What we want to have happen is to have our Miner boost the Rowdy Dwarf and put Brewer on the melee row. So he's going to have his 2 elves and 3 leader charges maybe. To get Erlin for a bigger swing. You gotta keep that in mind. Again, if these are 2 elves, Okay, so we can't get Erlen out yet. It's nice. Bomb, sure. Okay, so here, I want the armor to be in one row. So we go Marauder, we go Minor Charge. And then Broover will give us 3 a turn. I think we go up a card here. What's his last card? There's nothing he has that I'm afraid of for that last card. Because unless it spawns him 2 elves, when it's only a 4 and he gets, what, 9, 13, 18? It's kind of scary, actually. But he really wants just to pass. As long as he can't get Erlen out, I think we're fine. Although we are in a slight issue of a situation if he has a good card. Okay, just a dragon. Move the bleeding guy, please. Thank you, that was the wrong choice for you. Can we get away without playing Broover? We can. We don't need to commit Broover yet. Company's fine. I mean, there's no reason I could, given the choice, I'll keep my Broover, thank you. Because we pass, right? I guess Dias only gets 1 bleeding, go down 1, up 1, 13, go to 17. Yeah. Sure. I don't think that was worth it for him at all. Especially if he has Erlen. I don't know if he's going to get it out now. Alright, so he plays Incinerating Trap, Crushing Trap, Pitfall Trap. Guard's bad. That could be a problem for us. The bombs are really, like, the bombs hitting our Pyrotechnician is just the same as his order going off. Now, Guard's not great. Chariot, though. Chariot is nice. Zoltan is really good, too. Then we have Guard. We could draw into Guard, Minor, Chariot, or Zoltan. Seeing our hand. Chariot's okay. I think I'd rather have a Zoltan, though. Okay, Minor. Whatever. We'll open Minor. If he bombs it, it lives, and we can use his order on Pyrotechnician. Gabor gets points if we play him early, but I want the Minor's order to go off. Okay, so he's going to have Serpent. Okay, sure. Fine. Now this is immune. Have fun with your bombs. That were the Serpent Trap order. That was the other thing I was thinking of. Is that he hasn't played Serpent. Some decks only play 3 traps, so that what's his face? Abier always sees the same 3 options. We're going to sell. Fine. Okay, does he have a bomb? He has a bomb and Broover loses his barricade. Maybe end with Broover. So we get Technician's order off. This is a bomb. We win. It's Eldane. He goes to 20, and I think it's close. It's a bomb, so we win. Perfect. Go Broover. Broover is going to be worth 8. Plus 1 from Gabor, and we win. There we go. Yeah, I think he misplayed in round 2. He shouldn't have gone for those leader charges. He should have accepted losing on even. Because now we never got Erlen out of his deck. I'm sure he's had been playing Erlen, otherwise he wouldn't be using Maxi. Well, GG. So now you've seen the deck in action quite a bit based on the length of those games. Seen us win 3 games. Seen me lose 1 game from what should have been a draw by misplaying, by talking instead of doing what I was saying I was going to do. Anyway, so you can see the deck works pretty well. This is what I've been climbing with this season. However long it's been, a couple days. We're almost to pro rank. And I quite like the deck. Now, I explained all the card choices in it earlier. Here's the options for what I would change and the things you can consider changing, if you want to. Biggest one, Nature's Rebuke. Right? Like I said, we have very little removal in our deck. Nature's Rebuke. 5 damage. Really helpful versus stuff like the Slizzards. You can set up a Dwarf Berserker, you can then hit, or even Barbagazis, right? You set up a Berserker and then hit it with this. There's just no removal outside of Heatwave in the deck, which can be an issue, especially if there's bronze engines which get out of control, like Handmade Protector with 2 ships next to it, for example. There's nothing we can do about it, and we can lose a lot of points from Berserker hitting the ships next to the Handmade Protector. So, Rebuke's all you can put in. I've been considering taking out Chariot, because the Chariot order, without Yarpin, we lose one of our engines for it to go on, and the spawning the Rowdy Dwarf's nice for Monroe, but we can get enough Rowdy Dwarfs otherwise, right? Even though Chariot's new, and even though, well, it's not new, but it's been changed, and I'd like to change, I think Rebuke might be more valuable. The other thing you can consider is, if you don't like having Resilience. So the reason I play this deck, the Dwarf deck, is I like playing with Resilience, and we have 2 Resilience cards. For those of you who don't want to really focus on Resilience, I would highly recommend taking out the Resilience cards. And what you can do with this space is you can put in Yarpin. Great short round card, right? Comes down with 3 damage, boosts himself by 1 for the armor on him. Comes down as a 10-point play. It's good, and it gives us a little bit of removal the deck really needs. And the other thing is, if you're not playing Resilience, there's something else you can do, which is you can play stuff like, where's, what am I doing here? Not Dwarf. I want Geralt. You can play Geralts. Specifically Yrden. Yrden does 2 things for you. 1, it lets you beat stuff like Vi that just boosts like crazy. 2, it lets you counteract row damage on your own rows by basically healing everything in the row. So Yrden's a good option too. Just like add Yrden in, maybe cut 1 Chariot or something. And the other thing you can do is you can, so these are the choices, right? So if you don't want to play Resilience, I highly recommend playing Yarpin. Then you can play Geralt, Yrden, probably the best choice. Or if you don't want to do that, what you can do is you take out like Miners or Pyrotechnicians and Marauders. Here's an example, I'm taking out Marauders. And what you can do is there's actually several 6 provision cards, which are nice. Because you can put in Poly. The move is good, because sometimes I answer Brewer, I'm moving him to the row, so I'd say put in Poly. And then the other thing you can do is you can play locks, like you can add in Ciaran. I'd like to have a Ciaran. They're not dwarves, but they synergize well with helping you out. And the other thing you can do is you can play Ida for the Purify, right? So you can do this. It's more of a tech card route instead of the Resilience cards. I personally like having the option for these more. I would like playing this if I wasn't playing Resilience. Or you play Yrden, right? It's up to you. Those are the changes I'd make. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I have a lot of fun playing this deck. I enjoy the Resilience aspect of it specifically. And we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.